Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. Not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Meshegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello, my friends, and thanks so much for coming to hang out with me. Today is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. I have no voice, so I'm going to go as long as I can. It's not going to be very long, but so many things have been happening, and so many of you have been sending me messages like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yesterday, I woke up and I felt like I got hit by a truck. I have been literally sleeping for 36 hours. I don't know what I caught while I was on all of my flights last week. And I remember that I told you that there was people on the plane and the kids were screaming and everybody was hacking and choking and coughing and spitting. And I don't know what I got, but I feel lucky to be alive right now because it's been 36 hours of hell. And then my daughter just sent me an article. She said that they found the plague in California. I'm like, what? What do you mean the plague? The bubonic plague? And so there apparently is a plague, and I was in California, and I don't even want to read this article because I wasn't hiking or anything. It has to do with bites or something. All I know is whatever's out there is still out there, and I have it. And so I apologize that I could not do the Donna Adelson trial yesterday or today, but I could barely even sit up. And what I figured we'll do is listen, in my defense, from the beginning, I said I'm not going to be covering the Donna Adelson trial 24/7 every single day, 10 hours a day. It's been going like 10 hours a day. And so I figured what we'll do is we'll re-watch testimony of like Catherine Magbanua and Jeffrey, the ex-boyfriend. And we never even watched Luis Rivera's testimony, so we can watch that when we have time to do that. But tomorrow, I might have the plane plague. It's right. Holy crap. Yeah, it's bad. And then my sister sent me this article from The Wrap that Elizabeth Banks is going to play Karen Reed in a new limited series. And it's not the one that Karen and Alan are involved in. So we'll get into that in a second. And there's been 2 days of Civil Service Commission hearings on Michael Proctor trying to get his job back, which I tried to watch some of it, but I couldn't. So I hope you guys can catch me up on that. That's your job. I wish there were like just segments of it that we could play. Maybe we could play the opening statements. But to have all of his text messages and then also the court TV footage of the Karen Reed trial in which his messages were read out loud in trial 1 in front of his friends and family who were in the room, his wife and his parents. Gee, I guess you better want what you wish for if you're going to go try and get your job back. And then we didn't think it was going to be broadcast. We thought it was going to be in person only. And then every channel in the world had it on. So I don't know how many of you watched it, but it was something like 14 days. I mean, 14 days, 14 hours of hearing. It was 6 hours today, 7 hours yesterday. I don't know. So a lot of TV stations covered it. I did not have the energy to watch it. I don't know if you had the energy to watch it. I don't know if they're going to give him his job back, but it seems like The state police is fighting to not give his job back. They don't want to give him his job back. I don't think he's going to get it back, but who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? What do you think? Did you watch it? Yeah, there was no way I could cover that all day yesterday and today. No way. Not with the way I was feeling. However, also tomorrow is the Kelsey Fitzsimmons probable cause hearing. It's going to be on Zoom, and I would like to cover that tomorrow at 9. So Kelsey Fitzsimmons already has my attention, so I have to do that. And then tomorrow at 2, I would like to cover the Alan Jackson is doing some big announcement at 2:00 on Howie Carr. So I want to cover that with you too. I don't know what that announcement is going to be. When I saw this breaking news on Elizabeth Banks playing Karen Reed in this new limited series, I thought maybe that was it, but this has nothing to do with them. So I don't think that's it. Maybe it's going to be the civil case tomorrow, the 1983 action. I don't know. Oh my God, where have you been for the Adelson trial? I just said I've been dead, in bed, sick. I covered it day 2. And from the beginning, I never promised I was going to cover it 24/7. And I just couldn't. I was too sick. But thank you for missing me, I guess. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the the news that broke today in the wrap. This is the way I have this screenshot. I'm going to have to keep switching screens, but here it is. Here's Elizabeth Banks. Some of you in the chat were like, "Oh, it's Elizabeth Shue." And this is Elizabeth Banks from Hunger Games. And how appropriate is it that a star from the Hunger Games would play Karen Reed in the limited series for Amazon Prime? The Hunger Games. I mean, for the entire trial, I've been saying we are in the Hunger Games. Upside down, inside out. Michigas, Narnia. That is the Karen Reed trial. And so this is Elizabeth Banks. And this broke earlier, a couple hours ago. Elizabeth Banks to play Karen Reed in limited series for Prime Video. The project is based on the Law and Crime and Wondery podcast. Karen, she was in Pitch Perfect. She is from Massachusetts. She's from Pittsfield. Did anybody listen to the Wondery podcast called Karen? So here's Elizabeth Banks. If you're not looking at your screen, come take a peek. Come take a peek. And it says underneath, May 20th, Elizabeth Banks attends Prime Video's The Better Sister. So she was in The Better Sister. I did not watch that. The Better Sister. Did anybody watch that? And this is a May 20th, 2025 picture of Elizabeth Banks. And then page 2. Says Elizabeth Banks. Boop, boop. Come back to me. Will executive produce and star in a new limited series about the Karen Reed trial. The project, which is based on the Law and Crime and Wondery podcast, Karen, and written by showrunner Justin Noble, explores society's obsession with true crime, the allure of conspiracy, and the deepening crisis of trust in our institutions. When a Boston police officer is found dead in the snow, all eyes are on his girlfriend, Karen Reed, the logline states. Fracturing a community, some believe she's guilty of first-degree murder, but others believe she is the victim of a sweeping cover-up by state and local law enforcement. In addition to Banks and Noble, executive producers on the project include Max Handelman and Chrissy Wall via Brownstone Productions, David E. Kelly and Matt Tinker via David E. Kelly Productions, Jen Sargent, Marsha Levy, or what does that say? Louie, L-E-W-Y, Aaron Hart, and Jenny Muline versus via Wondery, and Rachel Stockman and Dan Abrams via Law and Crime. Warner Brothers Television, where Noble is under an overall deal, serves as the studio on the project. Well, that's interesting. David E. Kelly did The Practice and so many other of my favorite shows. And goes on to say, in June, Reed was acquitted by a jury on second-degree murder and manslaughter charges in the 2022 death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. The ruling came during a retrial after her first trial ended it with a hung jury in 2024. Following the acquittal, Reed and her attorney, Alan Jackson, inked a partnership with Killers of the Flower Moon producer, LBI Entertainment, to adapt Reed's story for the screen. The latest collaboration with Prime Video comes after Banks starred in The Better Sister. Noble's credits include The Sex Lives of College Girls, Never Have I Ever, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, while Kelly's credits include Presumed Innocent and Big Little Lies. Presumed Innocent is something that I just watched recently with Jake Gyllenhaal, and a lot of you watched it. A lot of us watched it at the same time. It was really good. So I don't know. Will this be good? It remains to be seen. Big Little Lies was also excellent, in my opinion. Banks and Brownstone Productions are repped by UTA, Untitled Entertainment, and Johnson Shapiro, while Noble is with WME, and Hanson Jacobson and Kelly repped by CAA. So this has nothing to do. Karen Reed is not involved in this one. But it's always the race of who can get it out first, right? Here's the podcast that it's based on. I'll show you this. Did any of you listen to this? This is the podcast. Wondery is like a big podcast company. Karen, the retrial. Apparently it's 2 seasons and 19 episodes. I didn't listen to it. Did anybody listen to this? Where all podcasts are sold. Dan Abrams believes that Karen is guilty, says Reese. I don't know. Never was pro Karen. Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, the story ends where the story ends. She was found not guilty, so it's not like they can make it up. It's not like they can change the ending. We've seen the ending. Oh, speaking of, Taylor Swift got engaged yesterday to Travis Kelce. That was pretty exciting. Any Swifties in the chat? That was exciting. I was in bed. I couldn't even celebrate that with you. What a bummer. All right, so apparently it's also up on IMDb Pro today, and it was just listed today. So we are right on the top. We're on the cusp. We're on the cutting edge. They're not even titling it yet. It's the Untitled Justin Noble / Prime Video project. Status pre-production August 27th, 2025. And Justin Noble is the showrunner. It says, follows the Karen Reed trial, a court case that gained national attention around the death of a Boston police officer found dead in the snow. His girlfriend, Karen Reed, became the primary suspect and was charged with first-degree murder. We did so many casting polls on who should play Karen Reed in any movie, and I don't think Elizabeth Banks was in any of our finals. Was she? I don't think she was. We had a lot of actresses in there, but I don't think Elizabeth Banks was in there at all, and she's the only one listed in the cast. So Justin Noble is known for writing Brooklyn Nine-Nine, another show that I didn't watch, and let's see what else he's done that we would know. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Never Have I Ever, Sex Lives of College Girls. Here's the Deadline article, also breaking today. Elizabeth Banks to star as Karen Reed in limited series about infamous court case from Prime Video, David E. Kelly, Brownstone, and Justin Noble. Exclusive. One of the more polarizing court cases in recent memory is about to get the Hollywood treatment. Sources tell Dateline that Prime Video and Warner Brothers Television are in development on a new limited series set around the Karen Reed trial with Elizabeth Banks on board to play the woman at the center of the case. Justin Noble is on board as showrunner and will pen the series and serve as executive producer with David E. Kelly on board, also as executive producer. Noble has an overall deal with Warner Brothers Television. Banks also will executive produce through her Brownstone banner, along with her producing partner, Max Handelman and Chrissy Wall. Matt Tinker will executive produce through his David E. Kelly Productions banner, along with Matt Tinker, Jen Sargent, Marsha Louis, all these people that we named before, and Dan Abrams through their Law and Crime company. The trial became a recurring story on morning talk shows and quickly was turned into multiple news specials as well as a Netflix doc before the final verdict was even delivered. Insiders tell Deadline that Brownstone had been developing the project for some time and in recent months has started putting the package together, starting first by tapping Noble as showrunner. Once the trial ended this past spring, they began packaging the remaining elements with Kelly, who has delivered some of the best courtroom drama in the past 30 years, boarding as a producer along with Wondery and Law and Order. The series marks a reunion for Banks and Prime Video, who just worked together on the series The Better Sister, which earned Banks some of the best reviews of her career. She also recently was seen in the FX series Mrs. America. Noble most recently worked on the HBO Max series The Sex Lives of College Girls, and prior to that served as a writer on Never Have I Ever and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Kelly is coming off another hit courtroom drama, Presumed Innocent, for Apple, which has several Emmy nominations, including Best Actor for Jake Gyllenhaal. Wondery is also coming off an Emmy-nominated series with Dying for Sex. They are also the producers behind Dr. Death. And so there's that. And this is what is this, CBS WBZ has to say about it. Elizabeth Banks to play Karen Reed in limited series, report says. And it says in this article that Banks, is a native of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. She was named the Hasty Pudding Theatrical Woman of the Year at Harvard University in 2020. Any relation to Colonel Noble? Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be crazy. It appears to be a different project than the one that was reported on earlier this year. In June, Variety and Deadline reported that Reed and her high-profile attorney, Alan Jackson, would give exclusive access as part of a scripted project being developed by LBI Entertainment. Dun, dun, dun. And we know the rest of that story. Let's just look at some pictures of Elizabeth Banks in case any of you are not familiar. Let's see, how many episodes is this going to be? It looks like it's going to be, doesn't say how many, but I would imagine it's like 8, maybe. Everything's buffering today. Why are we buffering? Prime Video is, yeah, it's through Amazon Prime. And here she is. There's Elizabeth Banks. There's only 785 photos on her. Let's see if we can find. Hunger Games, I think, is probably the most famous thing that she's done that I know her from. Pitch Perfect. She's got a ton of things in production. What do you think about that casting, my friends? Oh, a limited series is better than a documentary. I don't know. Who knows if it's going to be good? But David E. Kelly, I mean, David E. Kelly has written some of the best TV out there. But, Martin Scorsese was the director of Killers of the Flower Moon, who is and that's the company that Alan and Karen have their deal with. So imagine if Scorsese comes on to direct that. I mean, that would just be amazing. I don't know. This is buffering too much for me. It's making me mad. She's from Pittsfield. Yeah, I didn't know that. Did you know that? How can it make her look guilty? She's been acquitted. You guys, she's been acquitted. David E. Kelly Productions. Let's see. Oh, The Lincoln Lawyer. Yeah, a lot of courtroom stuff. Presumed Innocent. Big Little Lies, Boston Legal. Boston Legal. This is all David E. Kelly stuff. And isn't he married to Michelle Pfeiffer? Isn't he married to Michelle Pfeiffer? Why am I not covering the Donna Adelson trial? I've been covering it as much as I can, Serafina. I've been covering it as much as I can. I covered it day 2, and then I was deathly ill yesterday and today. And so I'm going to recap it. And there are about 7 million other people covering it. So there are lots of other places to watch it if you need to. Yeah, he's married to Michelle Pfeiffer, right? And for the record, I did say from the beginning that I have so many things to moving my kids back into college that I would not be able to cover it on the daily for 10 hours a day. But so there's that. Steve, thank you for your favorite American chick. Thank you so much for being here for 6 months. And also, Boston Girl, thank you for gifting a membership. And Lori says, so glad I found your channel. You keep me laughing after a crappy work day. Oh, that's nice. I don't know how funny I'm going to be today because I'm just not feeling up to it. If you put a socks hat on, you'll feel better, says Mr. G. I only have this because I don't know. I was in like TJ Maxx one day and they just had this there. I didn't even buy this in LA, this hat. It's a good color. It's a good color for a hat. Boston Girl gifted another membership. Thank you. And says, so glad I caught the live. Was trying to gift extra tickets to Gronk Jules. LOL. And Bazzarelli. Take what? Elderberry gummies? Feel better? I don't know. I was taking spoonfuls of Manuka honey. So hopefully that's going to work. Oh my God. So Jimmy, remember when I did do Donna Adelson the other day, I thought that the woman in the courtroom was Jimmy dressed up. It was not. It was a real woman. And she was on Nurse Kim's show last night. And that was crazy. And I was embarrassed. But it really could have been like Jimmy. It could have side by side. A lot of people did side by side comparisons. And it really, really, really looked like Jimmy in drag. And it's not like he's never in drag. Listen, he dressed up like Judge Canoni how many times and did bits. And he dressed up like Jessica Hyde. And, you know, oh my God, that was so crazy. Where is Jimmy? Ms. Demeanor. That's her name, Ms. Demeanor. I know. She's Ms. Demeanor. And she was on Nurse Kim's show I think it was last night or the night before. And she thought it was funny. She thought it was funny. I did a whole Instagram reel and I put it up on Instagram. And then I was like, oh my gosh, should I take that down? There was nothing I said that was mean, but really, you guys thought it was her. Pink sparkly top. The lipstick was on point. Everything was totally coiffed and perfect. And I thought if Jimmy was going to go incognito, that's the way he would have done it. So it was funny. It was so funny, right? He's flying home today from Florida. Okay. So you guys have been watching the Michael Proctor hearings. I did. I thought she was amazing. And I was so glad that I don't know if she saw any of my coverage or not, but let me just see if I'm going to play I'll play you my Instagram reel. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can do that it's linked in the show notes below. Okay, hold on a second. I put this up and then I wanted to take it down because I felt bad. See, this is where I put all my Dave Matthews stuff, but I can't play the music on here because they don't like it. All right. The lady is Jimmy. Because that would be hilarious. Okay. Look to the wait, let me see if I can. How do I rewind? It doesn't really play well on computer. Hold on. Can you make it full screen? Not really. All right. Here we go. To the right of the attorney who's speaking, pink sparkle shirt, wig, glasses, lipstick, earrings, purple cardigan. Do you guys think that's Jimmy? I mean, could it be? I don't know, but it would be like so like Jimmy for him to like put on a costume and walk in there because he did the Auntie Bev thing, walking the crab walk at the fundraiser. He had his shtick before he started getting into serious commentary, if you call it serious, and summer school and getting so obsessed with Donna Adelson, who's dressing up in costume and imitating all of the players in Karen Reed trial #1, season 1, and doing these skits on TikTok and being Jessica Hyde on the stand. I mean, it totally could be him. Look at the neck. Yeah, the neck looks like it could be too big. I don't know. I'm just saying because if it is, I don't know. He's not telling everybody. Could he have gone as Thickums? I don't know, but that would be amazing. Jimmy has a better jawline than most. Well, maybe this is a bad angle. Let's wait until she turns her head.
Annie at the time that he was killed.
There, right there. could it be with the glasses and everything? I don't know. This is Doubtfire. And listen, if it's not Jimmy, like, ma'am, I mean no disrespect for you. We're just trying to find our friend in the courtroom. And would he tell? No, Jimmy would not tell anyone. He would sit there incognito. Like, I don't know. I think that sparkle lady is Jimmy. So, yeah, you guys, I would have died on that hill the way that Will would have died on the hill of the different sneaker in the Karen Reed trial. Remember the black soled shoe? I would have died on that hill. But her name is Miss Demeanor. Ms. Demeanor. She's on the Twitter, and I don't know if she's on YouTube, but she was on Nurse Kim's show last night. And I needed proof of life from Jimmy because he wasn't responding to my texts on Monday, and we couldn't find him in the courtroom. So we thought for sure he went in drag to the show, to the concert, no, to the trial. But no, that wasn't him. And so I start it? Did other people start it too? I have no idea. But I was like, should I take it down? Oh my God. Right? He's still on that shoe hill. I would have died on that hill. And then I heard that Jimmy was really sick on Monday in his hotel room, probably because he ate that blue shake from McDonald's the night before when he was on the show with Nurse Kim and Will the Glera. And I was on the airplane and they were talking about me like I wasn't watching. And I was watching. I'm like, I'm right here. Why are you talking about me? At least they weren't saying anything mean. All right, let's take a look at WBZ news piece from yesterday, from before the Proctor hearings started. And then you guys can fill me in. All of you that have been watching it for 2 full days.
And more breaking news, fired Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor making his case in court in an effort to get his job back after being
Mikey. The stress is getting to him, I think.
Being fired for his conduct while serving as the lead investigator in the Karen Reed case. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Brianna Pitts. Proctor is challenging his firing before the Civil Service Commission. That's an independent body that reviews any disciplinary action in state and local government. WBZ's Penny Commit was in court for the hearing.
Michael Proctor was joined by his wife and attorneys who wasted no time calling the former state trooper's firing a witch hunt done only to appease members of the press and the public.
Mike Proctor was a very good trooper, an exemplary.
Okay, there's his wife, the blonde, Elizabeth Proctor, walking in behind her. And yes, Elizabeth Proctor was a character in the original 1600 and whatever year witch trials. 1692. I don't know why that date just stands out to me, but imagine Proctor calling this a witch hunt. The irony does not escape me. Does it escape you?
And the public.
Mike Proctor was a very good trooper, an exemplary trooper, a detective who has been made to be a scapegoat as a result of the Mass State Police caving in to public pressure.
That's how
Kind of like Karen Reed was a scapegoat. The irony is not lost on me.
Proctor's attorneys ended their opening statement after emphasizing that the crude messages Proctor sent about Karen Reed were on his personal cell phone to childhood friends, where he had a reasonable expectation of privacy. In those messages, Proctor called Reed a babe, a whack job, and said, quote, hopefully she kills herself. Attorneys for the Massachusetts State Police believe Proctor's termination should be upheld for additional reasons beyond the text messages.
Consumed alcohol and then operated his cruiser while on duty. Released confidential information.
You swear or affirm? MSP's first and only witness, Lieutenant Kevin Dwyer, was the primary investigator into Proctor's alleged misconduct. He validated clips of Proctor's testimony during Reed's first trial.
Just a few hours into an investigation, you were willing to tell a bunch of high school buddies details about the investigation.
Oh my God, it feels so good to hear Alan Jackson again. Can't wait to hear what he has to say tomorrow at 2 p.m. We'll be covering that live on Howie Carr.
including the name of the victim, correct?
At this point, it was 16 hours later, sir. Not a few.
In total, state police plan to show 36 pieces of evidence to the Civil Service Commission, an independent body that reviews any disciplinary action in state and local government, and will determine the fate of Michael Proctor's employment with state police. But that won't be for a while. While MSP expects to rest its case tomorrow, Proctor's attorneys will not present their 58 pieces of evidence until October. In Boston, I'm Penny Commit, WBZ News.
Good for them. So they have 2 full months to prep their case because apparently they didn't get the discovery they wanted. Do you guys want to watch the openings? Let's watch the openings. This hearing officer who was covering the hearing, this woman right here, she was taking no shit at all. Let's just this will be good because then I don't have to talk so much. We can just listen to this for a few minutes. Let's listen to the opening statements. This happened yesterday morning.
Good morning again. My name is Angela C. McConney, MCCONNEY. I am a commissioner for the Massachusetts Civil Service Commission. With me today is Rob Quinan, QUINAN, the General Counsel for the Commission. Good morning. The time is approximately 9:39 a.m. on August 26, 2025. The first day of hearing is being held in person at the offices of the Civil Service Commission at 100 Cambridge Street in Boston, Massachusetts. Additional days of hearing are scheduled for tomorrow, August 27th, 2025, and later this year on October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I am the hearing officer for today's appeal, filed with the Civil Service Commission on March 27th, 2025. And docketed as case number D1-25-085.
Right, so she's not a judge. She's a hearing officer. She should be a judge. I don't even know if she's an attorney or I don't know what her background is, but apparently they're going back October 21, 22, and 23. We'll let this play out for a bit.
Appellant in this matter is Michael D. Proctor, Proctor. At this time, I ask that co-counsel for Mr. Proctor please stay seated, introduce yourselves, and spell your names for the record.
Good morning, Madam Commissioner, Attorney Daniel Moynihan, Moynihan, on behalf of Trooper Michael Proctor.
I haven't seen this yet. We saw Moynihan in court for Proctor a couple times. Oh boy, here's a good. My freeze game is on point. We saw him, Moynihan, come in during the, I think it was the Miles King and the Brian Walsh hearings for Proctor. And also, he just said Trooper Proctor, and they was like, oh, no, not Trooper, Michael Proctor. That was hilarious. Hold on, I gotta hear that again. Oops, he's not a trooper anymore. He's dishonorably discharged former trooper Michael Proctor.
Commissioner Attorney Daniel Moynihan, Moynihan, on behalf of Trooper Michael Proctor.
Good morning, Attorney Mark Russell, RUSSELL, on behalf of Michael Proctor.
And my name is Zachary Green, Associate for Attorney Moynihan, on behalf of Michael Proctor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moynihan, Mr. Russell, and Mr. Green. The respondent in this matter is the Massachusetts Department of State Police. At this time, I ask that counsel for the department again, please stay seated, introduce yourselves, and spell your name for the record.
Good morning, Commissioner McConney, Attorney Quinan. My name is Stephen Carley on behalf of the respondent, Department of Massachusetts State Police, spelled STEPHENCARLEY. With me is my associate, Pamela Rautenberg.
Ma'am?
RAUTENBERG.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carley and Ms. Rautenberg. This appeal was filed by the appellant pursuant to the provisions of Section 13 of Chapter 22C, which applies to state police disciplinary matters, and Sections 41 through 45 of Chapter 31, known as the Civil Service Law. The appellant is contesting the department's decision to terminate his employment as a state trooper. Under the applicable law, the burden is on the Department of State Police to show by a preponderance of the evidence that the appellant engaged in misconduct that warrants discipline. If the state police meets that burden, then the burden shifts to the appellant to show why termination, as opposed to a lesser penalty, was not the appropriate level of discipline. This hearing is conducted in accordance with the standard adjudicatory rules of practice and procedure, 801 CMR 1.01, formal rules, with provisions of Chapter 31 taking precedence over any conflicting rules. To ensure clarity, this is not a jury trial. This is an administrative hearing being conducted by a hearing officer. As such, it is my responsibility to make rulings on the admissibility of evidence and then determine what weight, if any, that evidence deserves, and to make credibility assessments as necessary regarding the witnesses that appear before me. Pursuant to Section 43 of Chapter 31, the Commission has deemed this a public hearing, while reserving the right to close portions of the hearing if warranted. Members of the public are present in the courtroom today, as well as an adjacent overflow room where the hearing can be viewed live. The media has been permitted to set up a pool camera for audio, video, broadcasting, and recording. Prior to the hearing, the media and public have been provided with a summary of hearing room protocols that must be adhered to at all times. This hearing is also being audio and video recorded by the Commission via the WebEx platform. A court reporter is also present to transcribe the hearings, and that transcription will be the official record of this hearing. At the conclusion of this proceeding later this year, the parties will be given the opportunity to submit post-hearing briefs, at which time the record will close. Any final decision issued by the Commission regarding this appeal will be sent to the parties via email only. The Commission's decision will also be published on the Commission's public website at mass.gov/CSC. All final adjudicatory decisions of the Commission are subject to judicial appeal under Chapter 30A of the General Laws. Before we begin, a few housekeeping matters. First, in a final ruling sent to the parties yesterday, and after considering the objections of both parties, I have entered into evidence 36 exhibits from the Department of State Police and 58 exhibits from the appellant. As those exhibits have already been entered into evidence, there is no need to request that they be entered prior to referencing them at today's hearing. Second, I accepted the department's participant list, indicating that the department at this time has only one witness, and we will hear from him shortly. The department has committed to completing direct examination of this witness today. It is the Commission's expectation that the appellant will complete cross-examination tomorrow, with the option of recalling this witness in October if necessary. I urge counsel for both parties to use your time wisely and make adjustments accordingly as the day goes on to ensure conformance with these time allocations. Third, I hereby order the sequestration of witnesses. Any individual who is a potential witness in this matter may not attend or view any part of this proceeding until the conclusion of their testimony. Fourth, counsel for both parties have been allotted 15 minutes for opening statements. Since the audio is being captured by the table microphones, I'm asking counsel as well as witnesses to please stay seated while speaking, to speak loudly and clearly, and avoid any crosstalk. Please allow questions to be completed before objecting. At this time, I ask that counsel for the Department of State Police proceed with an opening statement, to be followed by an opening statement by counsel for the appellant.
All right, this opening is really good, so we're going to watch the openings. She has it. Somebody said she's the head of the Intergalactic Council. She does have a very AI sounding voice, but I find it to be lovely. Far better than my sick voice today, so I'm sure you'd rather listen to her. She's stunning. She's a beautiful woman. Okay, if you're not watching your screen, I'd like to describe it to you like I'm, calling a sports game or something. All right, moving on.
Ask Mr. Quinnen to please keep the time.
Commissioner Carley, may I just make a statement for the record regarding the procedure?
Is this something separate from the motions that I allowed yesterday?
No. Yes, it is. Yes.
Can this wait until after the openings?
Can it wait? She has no time for him.
Ken, it concerns the sequestration order.
If anyone is going to testify, or you think they will, they shouldn't be in this room.
No, the difficulty is the fact that we're here at the request of the commission to start this process today, despite the fact that we're awaiting discovery from the department, as you know, and we don't know who all our witnesses.
One at a time, please. Yes, if I'm speaking, don't speak.
Sorry.
That's quite simple. First of all,
If I'm speaking, don't speak. That's quite simple. She's taken none of it.
for decorum. If you have anyone who is a potential witness, they should not be in this room. That's all I can say.
And because we don't have our discovery, we don't know at this point who all of our witnesses
I
are.
can't advise you how to conduct your case.
I'm sorry?
I can't advise you how to conduct your case. Mr. Carley, can you please proceed?
Oh my God, do you see his face? He is not used to being spoken to like that, especially by a woman, especially by a fierce woman. She's like, I can't tell you how to conduct your case. I thought he was going to grab his toys and run out of the sandbox at that point, but nope, he's stuck around.
Thank you, Commissioner McConney and Attorney Quinnen. Distasteful, unprofessional, inappropriate, in poor taste, juvenile, sexist, disgusting, dehumanizing. This selection of words does not come from a public comment section on a website, an op-ed columnist, or a protester outside the Norfolk County Courthouse. No, indeed, one would be forgiven for not immediately recognizing that these words are Michael Proctor's accounting of his own conduct in this case. Conduct in which Michael Proctor, tasked with the immense responsibility of acting as case officer for the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe, consumed alcohol and then operated his cruiser while on duty, released confidential information to individuals outside of law enforcement, and called suspect and eventual defendant Karen Reed a babe, a nutbag, retarded, a whack job. She's got a leaky balloon knot, leaks poo, a woman who shits herself with no ass. She's fucked.
Nice.
A cunt.
Oops, I was going to bleep that. Apparently he tried to say, and I forget where I saw this because everything is conflating in my head right now, that nutbag was slang for not bad. He tried to say that that was not a derogatory thing. Where was it that I read that or heard that? Nutbag was not derogatory. It was just what him and his friends thought was not bad. Does anybody believe that? Okay. Here we go. It's in the report. Emily C. knows it all. Thanks, Emily.
As a result, the department brought forward 4 separate specifications within 2 types of charges for internal discipline. And in March, Colonel Noble terminated Michael Proctor's employment. In support of the just cause for doing so, beginning today, the department presents for your consideration its evidence of the appellant's guilt under the charges and specifications described as follows. Charge 1, Specification 1, unsatisfactory performance, sending derogatory, defamatory, disparaging, and inappropriate text messages about a suspect. Charge 1, Specification 2, unsatisfactory performance, provision of sensitive and confidential information about a homicide victim, potential witnesses, and potential investigative steps to non-law enforcement personnel. Charge 1, Specification 3, unsatisfactory performance, through unprofessional and inappropriate conduct, created an image that he was biased and brought himself and Massachusetts State Police into disrepute. And finally, Charge 2, Specification 1, consumption of alcoholic beverages while eating dinner on duty and then operating his department-issued cruiser. The department's defense of the just cause of the adverse employment action against Michael Proctor will be based entirely upon the evidence of his conduct, his violations of those specifications under our Article 5. To prove this case here in this de novo proceeding, the department will call OPIA Detective Lieutenant Kevin Dwyer, who was assigned an investigation initiated by DIS Commander Lieutenant Colonel Brian Connors. In addition to the testimony of Detective Lieutenant Dwyer, the department has submitted and has been entered into evidence for your review and consideration those 36 exhibits, demonstrating by a preponderance of the evidence that Colonel Noble had just cause to terminate Michael Proctor's employment. You will hear of Detective Lieutenant Dwyer's collection and assessment of the records of the appellant's misconduct, first brought to light in excruciating detail during 2 days of his public testimony at the homicide trial in Norfolk Superior Court on June 10th and 12th of 2024. You will have the opportunity to hear the appellant read in his own voice his vile, misogynistic statements against the woman accused of and tried for the death of Officer O'Keefe. You will have the opportunity to hear his revelations to high school friends and members of his family of the identity of the victim, his views on and details of the crime, the manner of the victim's death, the witnesses to be interviewed, and the direction of that investigation, some made under 24 hours of the discovery of Officer O'Keefe's body.
I feel the same way, Iceman says. What he said about Karen is bad, but wouldn't drinking and driving in a police cruiser while on duty be enough alone to fire the guy? I mean, I think that in the grand scheme of the things of firing the guy would be the worst offense, right? But remember, the standard here is only a preponderance of the evidence, and that is a very much lower standard than obviously beyond a reasonable doubt. Moving on. You can see this guy should just tell us how he really feels. It's pretty obvious how he really feels. He has no love lost for Proctor, this guy.
You will hear his own characterizations of his conduct that I quoted to you before. And you will hear his admissions under Charge 2 that while he was on duty, he consumed 1 to 2 beers with an officer from Canton Police and then drove the 2 of them home.
They all say 1 or 2, don't they?
You will be given, in addition to the video recordings of that public testimony, transcripts of the appellant's own words for your review and reference, a summary of Detective Lieutenant Dwyer of his misconduct, of Michael Proctor's misconduct as revealed during the trial, pay station, administrative duty roster, and AVL data collected by Detective Lieutenant Dwyer, corroborating the appellant's account of his alcohol consumption while on duty, the statements and admissions by the appellant at his OPIA interview, and Detective Lieutenant Dwyer's conclusions therefrom, as well as the criminal trial exhibits themselves containing the appellant's messages. You will also have available for your consideration the findings and resulting recommendation of the department's internal trial board, as well as the limited selection of public reaction to the revelations of the appellant's behavior. Relevant portions of an interview he gave to ABC News following his termination, and an order from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office for him to turn over as discoverable statements in a criminal prosecution under Rule 14 the content of his communications from his personal cell phone. The department expects that much by way of distraction will also be on offer in the days to come, in the form of dubious and flimsy comparisons, whataboutisms reflecting the choices of others, spurious emotional appeals to the absolutely real difficulties experienced by members assigned to a homicide investigation, and insinuations that written statements by a case officer regarding his own investigation are somehow private or out of bounds. In short, the department expects an appeal not based on the truth, but on evading accountability.
Ooh.
The department respectfully asks that this commission, while receiving those distractions or attempts at same, keep in mind the evidence and the facts that are the basis for the department's case. It respectfully asks you to bear in mind that no one committed the acts for which he was terminated other than Michael Proctor alone. No one authorized his communications of sensitive and confidential case information about an active homicide investigation to others outside of law enforcement. No one forced or cajoled or even requested him to engage in such gratuitous behavior. And that Michael Proctor himself has admitted, as evidently he must, that his conduct was unprofessional, inappropriate, juvenile, sexist, disgusting, and dehumanizing. And that he has admitted that he in fact committed the acts exactly as described in the charges brought against him. Accordingly, at the conclusion of this hearing, the department expects to meet its burden showing just cause and will therefore ask this commission to uphold the termination of Michael Proctor. Thank you.
And that's the attorney for the MSP.
Good morning, Commissioner McCartney, Mr. Queen. We're here today to hear evidence presented by the Department of State Police, which it believes amounts to just cause for the termination of Michael Proctor. Due to the fact that we continue to await discovery from the department, you will not hear a presentation of evidence by Michael Proctor today or tomorrow. You won't hear about his presentation of our evidence until October. Nevertheless, we will, through cross-examination, get to the truth behind this case. And the truth is that as of February 1st, 2024, Michael Proctor was an exemplary member of the Mass State Police. He had served in that capacity for 12 solid years without any discipline. He had risen to the level of the ranks of detective.
Maybe he just didn't get caught. February 1, 2024. As of February 1st of 2024. I don't. What is the significance of that date? The first Karen Reed trial didn't start until April 2024. The mistrial was declared July 1st, 2024. I think that's when he was terminated. What's the significance of February 1st? Hold on a second. I gotta hit that again. My brain isn't working very well because I don't feel well, so I'm going to need your help. We're very collaborative here. Oh, it was his testimony at the federal grand jury. Thank you, Olivia, for being here. Okay. Oops.
And the truth is that as of February 1st, 2024, Michael Proctor was an exemplary member of the Mass State Police. He had served in that capacity for 12 solid years without any discipline. He had risen to the level of the ranks of detective for the North.
Who's going to discipline you when the fox are guarding the hen house? I mean, really?
Norfolk County DA's office as a young trooper and served in the role as detective and was a very well-respected member of that unit. As of January 29th of 22, Michael Proctor, a fairly new detective in the DA's office, was asked to become the case officer on the Karen Reed case.
Oh, wait. So now you're admitting
You
that he
will
was the
hear-
lead investigator? Well, they've since changed it to case officer. So now you, his attorney, are admitting that he was the lead investigator when they tried to distance themselves from him during Karen Reed's trials. February 1st of 2024 is when his text came out in the grand jury. Thank you, Kate.
What his duties were as case officer, and you will hear all that he was not responsible for as case officer in this case. Now, as we all know, Karen Reed was arrested. She was indicted by a grand jury, and she was tried twice by the Norfolk County DA's office from 2022 through 2024.
Well, that just goes to show that idiots can make the same mistake twice. There was not enough evidence to ever bring these charges in the first place. We know, we were there, we were watching.
In the early part of late 2023 or early 24, the defense in the Karen Reed case convinced the U.S. Attorney's Office to open an investigation into a theory of a grand conspiracy against Ms. Reed on the part of law enforcement and others.
Okay, that's a major bullshit alert. Hold on. Karen Reed's attorneys convinced the feds to open it. Hold on. Is that what he just said for real? Hold on a second. That the defense in Karen Reed's case convinced the U.S. attorneys to open a case? What? Dude, okay, this is a great screenshot of him. Hang on. Save that for posterity later. Are you really saying that with a straight face? You think Alan Jackson and Karen Reed called up the U.S. Attorney's Office and said, hey, I got a case for you. Why don't you guys open up a case? What is he saying? This is a cold watch for me. I haven't watched this yet, as you can see. I got to hear that again.
2022, and she was tried twice by the Norfolk County DA's office from 2022 through 2024. In the early part of late 2023 or early 24, the defense in the Karen Reed case convinced the U.S. Attorney's Office to open an investigation into a theory of a grand conspiracy against Ms. Reed on the part of law enforcement and others.
Don't you wish it
You
was
will
that
hear
easy
that-
that you could just call up the U.S. Attorney's Office and convince them to open up a case? Wow. Alan has magic powers. He can prosecute Dever. Yeah. What are we? Wow. Okay. Go on with your bad self, Daniel Moynihan.
Michael Proctor was asked to testify in the federal grand jury proceeding as a witness only on February 1st, 2000.
No, he wasn't asked. You don't get asked. You get subpoenaed. It's not like, hello, Michael Proctor, would you mind coming in? Like to ask you to come in and testify in front of federal grand jury as a witness. You didn't do anything wrong. We just want to hear what you got to say. No, you're subpoenaed. You're ordered to come in to testify. You're not asked. Oh yeah, totally optional. Do you want to come? Here's the date and time. We'll give you a ham sandwich. No, that's not. It's laughable. It was a grand conspiracy, and it's going to come out because guess what? It took 11 years for them to try Donna Adelson, or Donna Gotti, as I'm calling her. 11 years. Tick-tock, mofos, bang, bang. It's only been 3 since the murder of John O'Keefe.
You will hear that Michael Proctor was asked to testify in the federal grand jury proceeding as a witness only on February 1st, 2024.
Everyone who testifies in front of a grand jury is a witness. What other category of people called to testify are there?
And when he appeared, he was shocked to discover that the U.S. Attorney had somehow infiltrated his personal cell phone and surreptitiously obtained personal text messages on his personal cell phone.
Oh, you bet your ass he was shocked. He never thought those things would see the light of day. And yeah, they can do whatever they want. They're the FBI. They don't need his permission. So he was shocked to learn that.
Now, we all have personal cell phones. We all have expectations of privacy on those personal cell phones. On February 1st of 24, Michael Proctor suddenly found in his mind that his privacy was violated.
That's not fair. Stomp your feet. That's not fair. We all have an expectation of privacy, okay? When a public official, government employee uses their personal cell phone to conduct business or to talk about business, it becomes discoverable. Counselor, you know that. I know that. We all know that. Isn't that upsetting that Michael Proctor just was caught by surprise? So upsetting. How sad for him. What about Karen's expectation of privacy? Yeah.
Since the disclosure of these text messages, the world has changed. Law enforcement officers and people in all walks of life now shudder at the thought that a federal agency could infiltrate their personal phone.
They shudder at the thought that a man like this would be in charge of a murder investigation. That's what they're shuddering about. The world has changed since Michael Proctor's text messages became public? Really? Michael Proctor's text messages were the catalyst for change? What is he talking about? What is he bloviating about? No. He got caught. He got caught. The only thing that has changed is that people in Massachusetts are even more pissed off than they were before this because they know, because you live there and you know that this has been going on for decades. You're mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore. And we are outraged. That is what people are shuddering about. That someone like him could work for however long he worked unchecked. Unchecked. And now he's caught and the world has changed. That's not what they're shuddering about. But I want to hear that again.
Mind that is first to 24, Michael Proctor suddenly found in his mind that his privacy was violated. Since the disclosure of these text messages, the world has changed. Law enforcement.
His world has changed. His world has changed since the disclosure of these text messages because everyone now knows what a misogynistic prick he is. And how he decided to pin it on the girl within 16 hours. And how he decided that John O'Keefe was hit by a car before he even had the car in his possession. That's why the world is shuddering. That's why the world has changed. The world has changed? Don't make it all about you. It's not all about him.
Other law enforcement officers and people in all walks of life now shudder at the thought that
other law enforcement officers should shudder if this is the kind of behavior that they're engaging in. They should shudder. They should be scared as shit. They absolutely should be. Not other people in all walks of life. They're not other people in all walks of life are not here to protect the public, protect and serve. That is not how you protect and serve. And you're damn right he should get caught and he should be afraid.
a federal agency could infiltrate their personal phone and look at text messages, personal text messages on a personal phone to family members and friends. Michael Proctor has reacted to this unlike many other people would. Michael Proctor has never denied the authenticity of these text messages. He's never denied that they are inappropriate, unprofessional, derogatory, sexist, misogynistic. Despite the fact that he's never, to this day, received the full text threads numbering hundreds of thousands of dollars that the U.S. Attorney's Office obtained.
And why would they spend that money? Unless they were going for the bigger fish. Hundreds of thousands of dollars they spent to get Michael Proctor's text messages. Thank you for letting us know that this is a much bigger deal than we thought it was initially. Because the U.S. Attorney's Office is not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just to show what a misogynistic pig Michael Proctor is. Trust me when I tell you that. They're going after some bigger fish here. And it's not all about him. But now that he's going to bring the spotlight on everybody, it may come out sooner rather than later about what exactly it is that they're going after.
And despite the fact that he still doesn't know why his personal cell phone was infiltrated.
He doesn't know why?
Michael has...
Should we feel sorry for him because he doesn't know the why of what happened? It's not up for you to know why. They're going after something much bigger than you, and you were caught in the crosshairs. Too bad, so sad. Too bad, so sad. This is laughable. Is it me? This is laughable.
Repeatedly apologized for making crude remarks, unprofessional remarks, juvenile remarks. We could come up with many other adjectives that Michael has admitted to. He has never backed away from apologizing for these outright unprofessional and I'll call them stupid text messages on his personal cell phone spoken to his buddies from childhood. Instead of backing away, what did Michael Proctor do? Well, the next day, he self-reported this information to his bosses at the Mass State Police. He reported the full context of these text messages to the Mass State Police, despite the fact that there's no existing Mass State policy concerning a trooper's personal text messages or personal private conversations on a personal cell phone. He reported it immediately. From that point, you'll hear evidence of what happened next and what didn't happen next in the ensuing 5 months and up till March of 25 when Michael was terminated by the department. You will hear of a meeting which was initiated by Michael and his then counsel on February 1st of 24, February 8th of 24, I'm sorry.
He was terminated March of 2025? Wasn't he really kind of like laid off or sent away with his backpack without pay on July 1st? But now he's saying that he was what? He was fired March of 2025? I mean, should we all congratulate him for apologizing and self-reporting and turning himself in and for admitting that it was a big mistake? Not a mistake, just that it was horrible what he did, like just apologizing and self-reporting. Do we owe him a medal for that? He never apologized to Karen. No, never. February 8th of 2024, he reported. That would have been right after he became aware that they had his text messages after he testified in front of the federal grand jury, which I imagine he was questioned about them. And so then, of course, he had to go right in and report it because now he knew he was in trouble and he had some splaining to do. And they had months and months and months to prep him before Karen Reed's trial because he only testified in trial 1. Take that back a second.
Personal text messages or personal private conversations on a personal cell phone. He reported it immediately. From that point, you'll hear evidence of what happened next and what didn't happen next in the ensuing 5 months and up till March of 25 when Michael was terminated by the department. You will hear of a meeting which was initiated by Michael and his then counsel on February 1st of 24, February 8th of 24, I'm sorry, wherein the content of these text messages was disclosed to the legal staff of the Mass State Police, as well as high-ranking members of the Mass State Police. You will hear that the Mass State Police assured Michael Proctor that not much would come of this, and that he may receive a letter of counsel.
The Massachusetts State Police assured Proctor that nothing would come of this. So it sounds like he's mad because they lied to him. Nothing's going to come of this. Don't worry. No big whoop. Maybe you're going to get a letter of what? A letter of counseling? And then the Karen Reed trial turned into a much bigger deal. And then there was a hung jury and then a second trial and you've been totally disgraced. And now the major lawsuit that may drop tomorrow if Alan Jackson's announcement that he's going to make on Howie Carr is what I think it may be. How many millions or billions of dollars is that going to cost the state of Massachusetts, the county of Norfolk, the Massachusetts State Police, and everybody else that was involved in this mishigas of violating Karen Reed's civil rights? But, you know, he's mad because they told him and nothing was going to come of it. Did you still think she was going to take a plea? Did you think this was all just going to go away? Wow. Take it back.
Was disclosed to the legal staff of the Mass State Police, as well as high-ranking members of the Mass State Police. You will hear that the Mass State Police assured Michael Proctor that not much would come of this, and that he may receive a letter of counseling as a result, or a written reprimand, and that the colonel and the command staff expressed appreciation for him immediately reporting these text messages to them.
Oh, we really appreciate you reporting this to us because Michael Morrissey really wanted to know what the feds had. And thank you so much for reporting this to us because that gives Michael Morrissey a little glimpse into what it is that they have and what they're coming after him for. Thank you so much for reporting this to us, sir. You're amazing. We're going to give you a medal after we give you a trophy.
You'll hear of a separate investigation done by the department in April of 24, wherein the nature of Michael's relationships, alleged relationships with witnesses was investigated.
Alleged.
And the issue of bias was investigated. And their findings were negative. You will hear that Michael Proctor remained on full duty from February 2nd, when he first disclosed, until July 1st, which is coincidentally the date of the Karen Reed mistrial.
Coincidentally? Yeah. Coincidentally, after the worldwide audience, the millions and billions of viewers that were watching the trial stream live all over the world found out what a wart he was on the hiney of the Massachusetts State Police. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Wow. Didn't mean anything until coincidentally it was the same day as the mistrial. Why didn't any of his supervisors report it? Why didn't any of the other guys who were in the text thread with him report it? About, trying to strong arm the medical examiner into changing her. We didn't even get into that. This is basically just about, the horrible things he said about Karen Reed to his buddies and stuff. And looking for nudes and what about the planting of evidence? What about the taillight pieces that magically appeared? And maybe it wasn't him that planted them. Maybe it was Higgins and Berkowitz because those are the two guys that Kelly Dever said she remembers going into the Sally Port for a wildly long time. One of them is dead and one of them's missing. There's so much more to this that is going to be exposed, in my opinion. Could be 10 years from now. Could be 10 years from now. Look at Donna Adelson. Could be.
You'll hear that after that mistrial, that unfortunate date for Mike Proctor, July 1st of 24, the witch hunt for Michael Proctor began.
The witch hunt for Michael Proctor began. That unfortunate date for Michael Proctor, the date of the mistrial of the Karen Reed case. It wasn't unfortunate for Karen Reed that she now had to go through this whole entire Michigas upside down Hunger Games again. And she was already $5 million in debt for her attorney's fees, had to sell her house, lost her job, liquidate her 401ks. This is all now about Michael Proctor and the witch hunt for Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor started the witch hunt for Karen Reed, and Karma knows his address. What a joke.
He was relieved of duty within hours after that mistrial. You'll hear a press release from the colonel at the time who stated, quote, upon learning today's result, Michael Proctor was relieved of duty. You'll hear of intense political scrutiny, intense media pressure to fire Michael Proctor. You'll hear that this termination was not based on actual facts and evidence. Instead, it was a decision made to appease politicians and to appease some vocal members of the public and the media.
But wait, it was actual facts and evidence because you just said that he did not dispute the authenticity of all those messages that he sent. So that was actually real evidence. And what about how he failed John O'Keefe, says Spate Dudette? What about that? Oh, the irony.
You'll hear of the so-called internal trial board process of the Mass State Police and how flawed that process is and how unfair it is and lacking in due process. You'll hear that despite the flawed process of that internal trial board, this decision to fire Mike Proctor was made on July 1st of 24, within hours after that mistrial.
As it should have been.
Most important, you'll hear evidence from the trial board in this hearing that Michael Proctor's personal feelings did not influence the evidence in the Reed case. Michael Proctor and that Michael Proctor did not act with the intent to affect the outcome of this investigation. You'll hear that there's no evidence to show that the integrity of the investigation in the Reed case was compromised.
Oh my God, are you serious? There wasn't one piece of that investigation that had integrity, counselor. I mean, I know you're trying to represent your client and blah, 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 zealous representation and all that. He had this case sewn up tight within 16 hours when there was no evidence of a car accident. No evidence that John O'Keefe's body was hit by a car. Zero. None. Nil. Nada. Zilch. That's integrity. The Reed case was not compromised. We're back in the Narnia, the upside down, the inside out. We need Chaka. We're in the land of the lost. Where's Chaka? Here's Chaka. I didn't watch Glare yesterday, but I will. Thanks, USMC Cowgirl says. Glare's coverage yesterday was hilarious. His comedy and Proctor impressions were outstanding. He's an excellent impressionist. He really, really does great impressions. And somebody's been calling into his show as Robert Cosgrove, and that is also a really excellent impression. And I honestly thought it really was Cosgrove. Peter Murphy in the house. Hi, Peter Murphy. Peter Murphy was a sergeant at Canton PD for 30 years. Says calls went out to Canton PD soon after we all saw the waterfall video indicating Officer O'Keefe was in peril. RICO charges to follow. That's what Peter Murphy's got to say about it.
The personal cell phone text did not affect his performance of his police duties. And that the Mass State Police investigation into Michael was solely about personal cell phone messages and not about his job performance in the investigation.
Wait, sir, what about the drunk driving part? Are we just going to gloss over that? Because they were so drunk, apparently. Kevin Albert lost his gun and badge and says, dude, where's my gun? Have you seen my gun? Dude, oh, no, I didn't see your gun, but I found your badge. I'm so hammered. I'm really paying the price today. Their text messages show how hammered they were the night before when he was driving a police cruiser. So if you don't want to think that his text messages are enough to get him fired, let's just dial back to that, okay? Because it seems to me that their conduct unbecoming, it's outrageous. I know, Jason, that guy's outrageous. Mr. Cosgrove should be upset, but, you know, it's comedy gold. It's comedy gold. Oh, it gets better, Serenity? Okay, sorry, I'll let it keep playing.
And that the charge of unsatisfactory performance of his duties is a misplaced charge. It's a charge that was designed as a Class A offense simply to appease the masses and fire Mike Proctor. In summary, Mike Proctor was a very good trooper, an exemplary trooper, a detective who has been made to be a scapegoat as a result of the Mass State Police caving in to public pressure. Michael Proctor did not commit a crime. Michael Proctor did not violate any specific policy prohibiting personal conduct on a personal phone because there is no specific policy.
Oh.
Those are two very important facts to remember.
Maybe there should be a policy. What about him holding the evidence? Right, Stina says. What about him withholding the evidence, the Sally Port video, in a drawer or a file somewhere for over 2 years? And that's even in Judge Cannoni's order. That's in a judicial order. And she blamed it on Proctor, that Proctor withheld that evidence in a drawer for over 2 years. That wasn't one of the reasons why he was fired, maybe? And so they're not going to bring it up? But he did do that. According to Judge Cannoni, without an evidentiary hearing, she's the one who decided that. So it's res judicata, meaning it's already been decided by another administrative body.
In this case, does his unprofessional conduct on his personal phone possibly warrant some discipline? Probably. Unbecoming conduct, possibly. In October, we will demonstrate, when we have our discovery, that the termination of Mike Proctor, the firing of Michael Proctor after 12 exemplary years, does not comport with previous standards of discipline for the Mass State Police, and that is disproportionate with discipline meted out by the state police over the years. Michael Proctor should not be subject to the whims of politics or the whims of the media. He should obtain a fair...
The whims of politics. Michael Morrissey is on his side. Has there been any politicians? Has there been one politician in the state of Massachusetts that has come out and said, fire Michael Proctor? Please, if there has been, point it out to me. Emily says, I mean, the public are who he serves, so if they don't want him working for them anymore, then I think it's fair to bow to public pressure. But has there been one politician in Massachusetts who's come out and said we must fire Michael Proctor? I don't think so. Michael Morrissey is his buddy. The Attorney General said that? I don't remember here. I don't remember seeing that. Did I miss it? It could be. I've been under a rock for a couple of days, but it seems like mainstream media and the politicians have been on his side. And we're waiting for Unimpound Town, Courtney. I can't wait. We the people. No, nobody's come out in his favor. Thank you. I didn't think so. So this is not about public pressure. This is about the MSP doesn't want to be anywhere near him. It's the MSP who fired him. All the politicians have kept their mouths shut. Nobody will say anything. Not even any of these people who are running for DA against Michael Morrissey, which is mind-numbing to me. So many opportunities wasted. Like, they should be getting out there talking about what they would have done and how Michael Morrissey didn't do it. But nobody's out. Nobody's got the cojones to come out there and say anything. Not even his hair came out today. Well done.
Hearing on the merits or the whims of... Michael Proctor should not be subject to the whims of politics or the whims of the media. He should obtain a fair hearing on the merits, and we expect to obtain that fair hearing through this process. No one should be unjustifiably pushed aside from his job simply because an organization wants to satisfy an agenda. And that's what happened here, folks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moynihan.
And that's his parents sitting behind him and his wife. All right, so I'm gonna just stop it here. Those were the opening statements. Tell me what you think. And if you watch the entire thing, there's only one witness all day yesterday and all day today. I mean, everybody hit the like button, please. Thank you. No love of the traveling trooper. The Goodmans are here. Says, I bet she will come on your show. Ms. Demeanor? Maybe. That'll be fun. Lola says, oh, you're very sweet. Feel better soon. Oh, thank you so much for your 5. Welcher's Emotional Support Laptop says, hearing officer asked a good question at the end of today about whether the investigator considered the different text threads and different days of those threads as separate offenses. The answer was yes. Okay. Thank you. And Wings, what is Michael Proctor really hoping for by getting his job back? Like a pension? Yes. Yes, his pension is probably worth a ton of money. Desk job. There's no way he's going to be an MSP detective again. The streets would riot. Imagine him trying to testify now. Yeah, well, he's, his credibility has been shot. I don't think that he's, but didn't it also come out that after, wait a second, I might be conflating something, but didn't it come out that he was given cases to work on even after this happened? Like after February, when these texts were discovered, before he got fired July 1st of 2024, wasn't he given cases and a caseload? And I'm trying to remember where I saw that or read it. And yeah, that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to save his pension. And BB, hi. So how many people on the deciding board know Meatball? Unfortunately, there's your answer. Hope you feel better. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a good point. Kraken Studio shuddering at all his unknown false convictions. I know. I'm saying that too. Every prisoner in the jailhouse who was ever convicted based on stuff that Michael Proctor did or investigated are clanging on the jailhouse doors now to get out. I truly believe that. Dog by community member says, yep, didn't go to the scene or see the car, but the case was solved. Yep. He called for the tow on that car before he ever saw it. And he decided it was a car accident. Proctor got waffled. Thanks for your for being with me for 4 months. Here for all the tea. Thank you. HB Sunshine says 12 exemplary years or 12 years of using his personal phone to hide all of his disgusting behavior. Yeah, that's what it seems like, right? So for those of you who sat there and watched this for 2 full days, tell me what you gleaned from it, because they're not coming back till October. So this is just going to kick the can down the road on any decision. Well, the good dog says his handling of evidence, planting of evidence, and withholding discovery for years were never even addressed here. Let's talk about that, Proctor. That's right. Yeah, he called for the tow before he ever even went to the crime scene. I have a feeling this is going to be so much bigger than what we know so far. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Goodman. Said soup. I'm sick too. Oh, it's the worst, isn't it? Thanks, Dee. I had DoorDash bring me some chicken noodle soup yesterday and some juice. Thank God for DoorDash. Elizabeth says, thanks for welcome back to the Upside Down. You're the best. Even the sick lady, your word is gold. Preach, Mel. Oh, thanks, sweetie. Appreciate you. Stephanie, thank you so much for your very generous mimosas. What a farce this is. What a farce. This is all such a farce. Thank you for Women Praise Other Women for buying me a matcha latte with the soothing tea. I need it. I know this has been exhausting. It's been exhausting just even for now. And Michelle, thank you also for your matcha latte. I'm wondering if you're going to cover the Proctor hearing. I'm watching it now. Pretty interesting. Okay, that was, I guess, from earlier in the day. So yeah, I covered the openings. And if I can find some good clips of it, we can go through more of it later. But I've been so sick that I haven't had a chance. Lola says he treated the investigation into the death of a fellow officer like a joke. He did. But was it done to protect his friend, the people that he allegedly had relationships with? Yeah, I mean, maybe it was the airplane that got me sick. I was on 3 flights last week. 3 flights. Here's what I want to do for tomorrow, and tell me if you're interested in watching the probable cause hearing on Kelsey Fitzsimmons, because I am. I'm going to be watching it whether you come with me or not. It's scheduled for 9 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, probable cause hearing. The Adelson trial will be going on all day, every day for a very, very much longer time. And I think it's going to be more to our benefit to do recaps of it. I would like to cover it live when Charlie testifies. Does anybody know when Charlie is going to testify? It's 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Kelsey Fitzsimmons, probable cause hearing. It's going to be on video. And there's so much more. Is there a Walsh hearing on tomorrow? I don't have that in my calendar, Kate. Walsh is taking an interlocutory appeal too. Hang tight for a second. Let me find that for you. Well, and I wanted him to. I wanted Walsh to take that interlocutory appeal on the denial of the motion to suppress. Yeah, we love Larry Tipton. He's a ball of fire. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Boop. Thanks, Tiffany, for sending this to me. This was filed, I think, yesterday. They have filed an appeal for a single justice of the SJC. Oh, it's 24 pages long. I didn't realize. Let me just read this quickly. Okay. They are appealing to the SJC, and we did look up the grounds for interlocutory appeals in Massachusetts, and I said I thought this would be one that they could appeal before the trial started, and they are appealing it. And they're saying that the consent agreement, remember the whole thing about the consent agreement to search his phone? They're saying that the judge's decision, Judge Frenier's decision, was completely wrong, not supported by the facts, against the weight of the evidence. And the trial court went outside the plain language of the emails exchanged between the defendant's prior counsel, Tracy Minor, and the first assistant to the Norfolk DA's office, Lynn Beeland, to interpret their consent agreement. It's 24 pages, and I don't have a voice to read it to you right now, but suffice to say that I'm very happy that they're going to appeal that. I think that that was a BS decision, and I look forward to going over those papers with you, which we will do. Okay, so tomorrow, you have a Walsh hearing tomorrow in your calendar for what time? Let me just look it up. Is it just on Walsh or is it on King also? Hold on. Oh, I posted something the other day. They're doing system maintenance on the Mass Court's website between 2 p.m. this coming Friday and Tuesday, September 2nd. I know it's Labor Day weekend, but that doesn't mean that people don't need to access the court records. And in what world does it take that long to do maintenance on a website? No, that's not it. Does anybody know what time the Walsh hearing is tomorrow? King on the calendar for 2 p.m. All right. I think we can do it all. If it's at 2 p.m., that's great. But I want also do Alan Jackson's announcement tomorrow on Howie Carr at 2 p.m. So what do you think the 2 p.m. announcement is going to be by Alan Jackson? What do you think it's going to be? What do you think he's going to announce? Big announcement. And Karen's going to be in the studio with him. I don't think she's going to do an interview or anything, but what do you think? Rico, 1983, and that's what I think too. Melanie's show on a 10/11/24 is the best one to date regarding EDG. What's EDG? I think it is going to be 1983 too. Mercury Star says he's going to announce that he's marrying me. Everyone, please hit the like button to help a girl out. Maybe I can DoorDash some cough drops. Heidi Koch says he's going to read an old telephone book because we miss hearing his voice. Yeah, he's got an announcement 2 p.m. tomorrow on Howie Carr. There's been a little tea about it. All right, I'm going to go rest my voice because we got a lot of things to cover tomorrow. What does anybody know when Charlie is going to testify? Is Charlie going to testify? Short explanation of 1983 is a violation of civil rights. It's a violation of civil rights. There are certain circumstances in which you can sue a municipality for a violation of your civil rights as a defendant. Did you hear that Higgins got a homestead exemption for his house? No, did not. Here's the AI overview. Section 1983 litigation refers to lawsuits filed under 42 U.S. Code 1983, a federal civil rights law that allows individuals to sue state or local government officials for violating their constitutional or other federal rights. To succeed in such a case, a plaintiff must prove that a person acting under the color of state law deprived them of a right secured by the U.S. Constitution or federal law. These cases are complex and often involve defenses such as qualified immunity, and they allow for damages, injunctive relief, and attorney's fees as remedies for the violation. So you can sue, the district attorney, the police, if you can show that your constitutional rights were violated under the color of law. And in her case, it would be things like due process, equal protection, mostly due process. They are complex, but I think she's got a very, 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 a lot of grounds, a lot of good grounds. I don't know anything about the homestead law, but that's interesting. But I'll have to find out more about that. All right, let's come back at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you. I'm trying to. I know. I felt really bad because people were like, where are you? Where are you? I'm like, I'm so sick. I couldn't even respond. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys with all of my heart. If I don't see you soon, I'm going to die. Thank you, Jody, for your 20. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you guys in the morning. Make sure you have your notifications set and all that stuff so that we can come back tomorrow. Yeah, I got to go. I got to go drink some hot tea or something. All right. Thanks, moderators, for keeping it classy tonight. This was a short one, but I don't really have a whole lot of energy. So I will see you guys in the morning. Hopefully I can get 12 hours more sleep and be back and we'll probably split it into a couple of different shows tomorrow. We'll do Kelsey Fitzsimmons in the morning and then the Walsh and King hearing in the afternoon with Alan Jackson's big announcement on the Howie Carr show at 2 p.m. with Karen Reed. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. Do all the things that YouTube likes, please, for me, because it's a nice thing to do. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.